Happy Friday, Fantasyland. It's a TGIF BALLiN episode with my buddy Kevin Wheeler. You know him as a top ranker on Fantasy Pros. Let's draft for 2 million and let's get.
Go District. Bleed, I ball. Bleed, I ball. Bleed, I ball. Bleed, ball. And I bleed, I ball. Bleed, I ball. It's the Go District, y'all. I ball, cause I bleed. Hey, bleeding, I ball. Defeated the odds, didn't see him at all. JD in the pies, I needed it all. I bleeded a lie, you bleeded a lie, not bleeded a lie. And that's what I go do. Facts, let me show you. Happen to know dudes. Drafting, they don't do bad and they don't lose. Make you wanna bleed. It's the Go District, boys giving you the business and no gimmicks. The best ball drafts got me feeling like it's Christmas. Then it's Christmas all of a sudden and these riches came from nothing. And I got this all from loving a district. See, I just drafted, forget it. I laugh at the critics, they mad at the digits. I clap back by listening. See, ballin' ain't a problem if you kick it with them off. And I refresh the feed till autumn, then I bleed, go.
What is up, Fantasyland? I'm here with my buddy Kevin Wheeler on a Friday afternoon. We're drafting on Drafters. Normally, you might see us on either the FFPC or Underdog. We're switching it up. Sometimes it's just about the schedule and the availability of the tournaments. So we wanted to bring you guys something for this weekend. And you know him from @FF_Wheeler on the Twitter machine. Kev, man, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you, man? How's it going?
Good.
Friday afternoon. Taking a little lunch break here, I guess, are you?
So, yeah, you could call it that. A little lunch break on a Friday. Nothing wrong with a little draft, you know?
Summer school ends at noon, so I'm always free in the afternoons.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. I figured you probably had some kind of summer school, but I wasn't sure time-wise.
Yeah.
So we haven't done a drafters. I know I haven't done a drafters in a while. I've been mainly on the FFPC. And then sprinkled in some Underdog a bit with Dan. What's the biggest difference when you're looking at Drafters versus one of those other platforms?
So I did about 20 of these pre-draft, and I've only done like a few, maybe 3 or 4 since the NFL draft. But really, like, every platform's a little bit different, and it's like the user interface is a little bit to get used to, right, on each platform. And then the ADPs are a little bit different on each platform. Wide receivers, it's like, it feels wide receiver heavy, but it feels wide receiver heavy in this draft in particular, because I think a lot of the people we know jumped in this thing. But usually I can get some wide receivers a little bit later in this platform. But I went with Kupp and Keenan Allen pretty quickly. It is my pick, so I'm going to kind of tune out here.
Yeah, go ahead. We jumped on, and of course you were at 3 and I was at 1.
Oh, shit.
Did you time out there? Is that who you wanted?
No, I didn't time out, but yeah. I'll take Etienne in the 4th. I'm kind of right now. I kind of am content with each guy I've drafted. So for Kupp at 3, I'm happy with that. I would rather get a wide receiver. I would either rather go Kupp than McCaffrey. I was high on Hill early in the best balls with his legal kind of report. I don't think he's going to be suspended, but like, it could be distracting at certain points in the season. And like, I feel as though Tyreek's ADP should have dropped a little bit, and it really hasn't. So I'm kind of waiting. Maybe more news comes out and he drops to a zone where I was picking him up because he was consistently going after McCaffrey early on. So my pick here, I already have 2 running backs. I definitely want to go receiver.
I was saying being in the 1 spot I started with Jefferson at the 101. I've been just mixing up Jefferson and Chase. And then when it came back to me, I'm looking at the receivers and I was like, ugh. Like Pickens, Waddle, Smith, Wilson, they're all gone. I took Jacobs. I don't have a lot of them this year. Stevenson, I do, but kind of like pairing those two. And then on the way back, again, it's kind of like you're looking at the receivers. You're like, they look better. You know, the running backs look better, but you know, like you said, those you can probably find some gems down the way, but they do get ugly kind of quick. The receivers, I find, especially on the other platforms. We'll see here if it's the same. I find you can mix up your builds a bit more on drafters, depending on how the draft goes.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like this is mimicking much more of a underdog draft than these normally do, where the wide receivers are going heavily. In the fourth round, I grabbed a couple of running backs just because they did seem juicy, and I maybe foolishly still have Derrick Henry ahead of Tony Pollard. I just like we've seen it out of Henry too often, right? Like I just feel like in best ball, and I don't see any way Pollard is really gonna get. I mean, yes, there's availability for touches for Pollard, but I don't see him being an over 20 touch back. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like Ronald Jones or somebody else is going to take some touches away from Pollard. Don't get me wrong. I probably have him right after Henry and, late second, early third. I think maybe what it is too is that I was getting Pollard in the third round pre-draft NFL draft, right?
I keep talking about that.
Right?
I keep talking about that on the show. It's hard after, right? When you got to pay more. Yeah.
And this is a whole different tournament. So yeah, I probably should be scooping a bit of up, and I probably will. But now just for like, this is my first $20 one in drafters since the NFL draft. July is when I start to ramp it up. I'll be hitting every platform every day. And
yeah, I was looking. I've got like over 70 already on the site, so it's not like I haven't.
Oh wow!
It's just the last couple weeks
since the NFL draft.
Yeah, no, just the last couple weeks have been a little nuts, so I haven't had much chance to get on. I've been.
But I'm saying that 70. How many of them were pre NFL draft like that? Like that $5 best ball they had. Yeah.
I got 16. So the early one, I got 46 in.
Okay, that's what I figured. Most of them were pre-draft.
Yeah, and then 16 in the. Yeah. I think the thing with drafters, like I said, is it's the availability for me, and because I'm in Canada, I'm allowed. I'm not, I'm limited, so it's either drafters or FFPC. And for when I just feel like drafting and it's not like a scheduled thing where I got to go look at the schedule, sign up, I usually jump on drafters.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Like I try to hit up drafters when I'm kind of like tired of underdog, or like underdog has had a tournament fill here and there. I like doing the FFPC, but you're right. You kind of have to schedule it and then hope it fills.
Exactly. Yeah.
I am in a $35 Superflex best ball on FFPC tonight. If anybody wants to join in. Oh yeah, they won't see this until Saturday, right? This isn't live.
Yeah, it's most likely Saturday by the time I
well, they won't see it today. I'm in my head. It's live coming up on my pick here too. All right. So since it's not live, I guess we shouldn't talk across the table to each other, but there are a couple. Actually, this wide receiver Pittman has fallen.
Yeah, I just tweeted the other day. Pittman is too cheap.
Like he had over 200 PPR fantasy points last year with jabronis at quarterback. Like I don't see there's any reason why he shouldn't at least matches totals from last year in the 6th round, I'm willing to pay for that.
Well, Mike Evans, same for me. Like, yeah, I already have 2 fifth week buys or whatever you want to call it. But I mean, the value for me is too good there, and I'll pair up Addison with JJ.
I could see that, actually. So my choice was between Mike Evans and Pittman there. I just went with Pittman. I'm not sure if Mike Evans is, deceased, but he's put up numbers every year, right? Like, we shouldn't even.
It's hard to deny what he's done, man.
Oh yeah, but it's impossible to predict that age cliff. Do I have any Jaguars? Shoot. Oh yeah, I have ATN. I'm gonna hit up Lawrence there. I was looking at a couple other wide receivers there, but I have Etienne, so I can stack him with Lawrence. Lawrence in the 7th seems like a value to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take that. Last round when I grabbed Deontay Johnson, I think Deontay Johnson, even the 5th, he's creeped up a bit in the past few weeks, but I still feel like Deontay Johnson in the 5th is a value.
I was debating. I was going to take Deontay and Godwin, but I don't think I have much Mike Williams. So I was like, I'll just mix it up. Williams with Jacobs, just kind of like a divisional stack there. That's kind of like my backup stack is if I'm not getting anything done with certain weeks or certain teams, then I'll start doing divisional stacks.
Yeah, well, that was the thing too. I actually thought Mike Evans might make it back to me because I thought you might pass on him because you had Godwin. But if I'm you, because this is 20 rounds, like it's not live, so you mind talking across the table? Like if Baker's available on that 100%. Like 18th round, bingo, right? Like I like that. Or even if he's taken a little bit earlier than you want to grab him, like the last pick in the draft, I would be tempted to go with Kyle Trask.
Yeah.
Like, because if we're drafting Mayfield in the 18th round, like, or even if it's after the 15th round, nobody's expecting him to get all the way through the season, right? Like,
yeah.
So if we're not expecting him to get through the season, back end it. I've been doing that like in a lot of super flex drafts, just like toward the end, grabbing Trask, or there's a couple other guys that are.
Yeah, both the guys have been falling too much. It's you look at it and the offense is not appealing with Baker there, but like you hear a lot of people mentioning it now. They're not going to be the best at defense. They're not going to be a great team. They're going to have to throw the ball, and I mean, who else is going to catch it other than those two? Right. Whether you like Otten or whoever else in that offense. I think they also give you the safety net when you're looking to build stacks, right? Like you just said. So you can take them when they fall, and then later on in the draft, you're not panicking for a quarterback. You take one along the way, and then you've got the other one kind of in your back pocket.
For sure. Oh, I was actually like that 5th round where I did take Deontay. I was going to say, like, I was really eyeing up Herbert there too. Like Herbert, I've been seeing fall into the 6th round in some drafts, and then like later in the 6th. Like, man, Herbert falling is just a mistake in my opinion. Like, I honestly think Herbert should probably be ahead of Fields with his new offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I think that's probably where, if you are more bullish on Herbert, that's probably where he goes. I don't think he gets ahead of Burrow or the guys ahead of him, but
yeah, I don't think he gets ahead of Burrow, and I don't think I would take him ahead of Burrow. I just see him, like, surprisingly to me, fall or slide, not fall, but slide. And then when you think back to last year, Herbert had, I think it was you a little bit hyping Herbert up. We were drafting him, like we were debating him or Mahomes.
Or Mahomes. No, I know. I remember I took him in the hard way, which I ended up winning, but it's not necessarily because of that pick.
I'm gonna make fun of you for bringing up the fact that you won that every time we get on. No, that's awesome though. That's fantastic. The hard way is like that's winning the hard way for sure.
Yeah,
that's
all right, definitely.
That this is way too early on this guy, but he is sliding.
I had him. I was taking him if you didn't. So
okay.
I had him there.
And I do like. I'm gonna tell you what I was thinking after you go.
Yeah, no problem.
But as we look at your team, you got 5 receivers.
These bye weeks, like week 5 and week 13 right now, are just killing me. Every player.
Screw the bye weeks, dude. Screw the bye weeks. Figure it out later.
I'm taking Waller and I'm taking Cousins.
Well, the only reason I passed on Ingram was because Waller was still sitting there. I'm like, let me let Waller go. Like, what? That he should make it back to me because I want to be able. To
now you can
I want
stack.
to be able to stack Lawrence here.
Stack your Ingram.
Right. That's the plan. But I mean, like, I'm also looking at some other receivers that I could have gone with. Oh well. Yeah, it's hard to look at like each platform is different, right? So like I like to have the draft board on one screen and the draft on another screen.
Yeah,
not being able to separate them is
it's
tough.
kind of frustrating. Maybe I'm thinking about Underdog, but I could have swore you were able to split it. I could be wrong though.
I mean, I thought that like I usually do drafts on my tablets, and when you can't split it on a tablet, like whatever.
Yeah.
Like, and I rarely draft on the computer, only usually when I'm streaming as well. But yeah, it doesn't make sense that you can't separate the board from the draft. Oh, we included drafters on the tweet, so maybe they'll listen to it too.
There you go. That's actually a good suggestion. Yeah.
I mean, it just is like, and being able, like, you can expand the draft board, which is nice, but it's like, it's not quite, it's not quite the same. All right. So yeah, just looking at my team.
Are you not in the fishbowl?
No.
Oh, dude, seriously?
No, I did it for a few years, but
yeah,
it just occupied too much of my time. And
yeah. All right, I hear you. Thought we'd squeeze some fishbowl talk in here, but
no. But if you look, somebody tweeted out, I think it was some time last year, either like. It was something about the top 5 like all-time winning percentages if you've been in it 3 years.
Yeah.
I think they used an all play. I'm in the top 5 for that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I figured that it was time for me to leave after like.
Hang it up. I had my best season last year, and it probably could have went even farther. I didn't realize I was in the semis because I find it so weird to know if you're in or not. It's make it a little simpler, like I should be able to know if I'm in the playoffs or not, or if I made it to the next round. Anyways, I thought I was out, and then it was too late when I went back and looked and realized I was looking at the wrong page or whatever. So I never set my lineup. So I got knocked out basically with no lineup, which sucked.
That sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks.
But I've gotten better like literally every year since Fishbowl 7, so maybe this year breakthrough.
Like every year I was in it, I definitely got my last year in it. I was in the semis, and it was the year I was super high on Kenyon Drake, but I benched him in the semis. And not only that, I had like picked up Brashad Perryman and a couple other like jabronis that like just exploded, and I benched them for other jabronis because I thought, being the ranker, I knew who was gonna I got full of myself and just benched. I put like 150 points on the bench that I had started the week prior. Like it was just like Kenyon Drake alone scored like 60 points that week.
Outsmarted yourself.
And really what I did though is like it's I looked at the other teams in the semis, and they did have some of those players. So I'm like, let me differentiate my lineup like I'm playing DFS. And yeah, I totally outsmarted myself for sure. Not much wide receiver selection left there, but I went with the ultra, well, I guess I shouldn't say ultra consistent, but the relatively consistent Jacoby Myers. Like, yeah, he's switching teams, but he's going to his old offensive coordinator. Yeah, well, the only thing holding Jacoby Myers back, in my opinion, is the fact that he doesn't score touchdowns. Like, he gets targets, he gets yards, he actually has athletic talent. I'm a fan of Jacoby Myers. Might be a little bit early on him, but
yeah, no, he was good in New England. He was definitely a target monster. I just took one of my new favorite running backs that I love taking is Elijah Mitchell.
So I can see it, but then does that make you lower on CMC?
No, it comes back to the offensive scheme. Shanahan's offenses are known to have running backs getting injured often. It's just the nature of the offense. Sense. And even other positions, because if you look at like the Debos, the Kittles, the guys get hurt. You know, there's like a cycling going on that roster. So, I mean, look, CMC obviously should have a big year. He's coming into a full year with the team, all that kind of stuff. I love me some CMC, but I way prefer Elijah Mitchell in round 11 because he's either going to give you those, like San Fran is up by 20 or 30 and they're going to feed him the ball for the last, 2 quarters, or they're going to be managing CMC a bit. And then, there's the possibility of injury. But I think it sounds like I had someone telling me that Mitchell was, maybe it was last night. I was on with Balky on the FFPC, the high stakes show.
Yeah, I was stalking you.
Yeah, pretty sure you were on. That's right. I forgot you were on. That was awesome, by the way. There. But yeah, he was telling me that he was reading, like, Mitchell was bulking up, and he was, really like kind of wanting to get back healthy. So look, man, this offense with Shanahan, you want part of it, So if you can get part of it in the double digits for me, I don't mind it.
I get that. I totally understand that. The injury, the commonness of the running back injury in that offense.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Like, totally get that. And I don't get me, like, as long as Mitchell's healthy, even playing with CMC, I wouldn't be surprised if Mitchell gets 8 to 10 carries a game. Which in best ball, like, they're going to try to preserve.
I was going to say, I think San Fran wants that. And I think absolutely. Even CMC owners might want that just so he lasts for the season.
Like, there's super intelligent football going on there, right? Like, they're going to make moves that make sense. I also think that about Miami. Like,
yes.
That's why, like,
same coaching tree, right?
Right, exactly. And the signing of Dalvin Cook, I knew they weren't going to, like, go out of their way to offer him a contract he was looking for. Like, yes, Dalvin Cook might end up on Miami, but he doesn't really fit their scheme. Like, he's just another warm body, and they're just stockpiling backs that, to the prior to Dalvin Cook, they're stockpiling speed. Yeah. So yeah, San Francisco just doing the same thing. Elijah Mitchell, I like that. Exactly. I need to warm up to him a little bit more. And again, it's a guy that I feel like has climbed a bit, right? Like, maybe we used to be able to get him in the 14th round, 13th round.
Exactly it.
And now, like, but then again, I went and picked Nico Collins, which I think is still going too high.
Yeah, we talked about him last night. I'm surprised he's not a guy I'm like targeting or anything. So I was surprised to see even in like the big money leagues, he's going in round 10 in the FFPC.
Yeah. Well, FFPC, I'm surprised he's going in 10. Like, I see him in 11 and 12, and I usually pass on him. I think I felt as though in this draft I was a little bit behind the mark as far as wide receiver, with Jacoby being my fifth. I like, I guess I shouldn't have felt that way, but I got those two earlier running backs, so I kind of felt, and then I have tight end and quarterback kind of locked up a little there. What do I want to go with here? Do I want to pull the trigger on this dude? It seems a little early for him to, but let me give it a shot. Jaylen Warren, another guy that seems to be going earlier than we could have gotten him, you know, pre-NFL draft. But I am a little bit higher than the consensus, let's say, on Najee Harris. But I don't think Najee is going to get the workload he had 2 years ago, where it was 380 touches or something ridiculous like that. Warren is going to cut in it. Warren is kind of the equivalent to me of like an Elijah Mitchell, right? He's going to get 8 to 10 carries a game. He's going, damn, he's the other one. Gainwell is the guy I'm super high on, but because I did super well in an NFFC tournament, I can use that money in BB10 still. In BB10s, you can get Kenneth Gainwell. Or no, it's Underdog. You can get Kenny Gainwell in like the 15th round on Underdog.
There was some schmo on Twitter the other day trying to come at like Theo and I and Dan, and I forget who else it was. I don't know if it was Ship Chasing, or they're commenting about like free entries and stuff. And I was like, I'm thinking to myself, dude, most of the stuff that we use is credits that I've won from the previous year. Yeah, we have a partnership with the FFPC. We create content for them, you know what I mean? So obviously we have a partnership, and there's some entries that are involved in that, but it's not like we're free rolling, you know, the whole year type of thing. Like this guy was making it out, and then he's making it out like we have to like be transparent and start telling them exactly. I'm like, what is this guy talking about? You know?
What's
sorry?
Like being transparent with
regards to like how many entries we get from a site and all that kind of stuff. Like that's none of his business.
Yeah, no.
You know, you're getting free content from us. We're not charging you for it.
Right.
You
right.
know?
I agree. When you're streaming a draft, it is so much more difficult to focus on what you're really doing. That's the part they don't get. Like it's, and until you practice, like I like streaming drafts so I can get the practice in, right? Like, so like this is a practice run. I might as well do it live. I'll make mistakes in front of y'all. I don't care, whatever. But then I'll, you know, but the guy is saying because this is a credit or a freebie, you should be transparent with who you're going to pick. It's like, I don't even know where that comes through. Now, what does he care? He's going to win the same amount of money either way.
I don't get it. Like I said, if you get in the right kind of pattern, you know, it's kind of like the whole bankroll management. I've been free rolling in fantasy for a few years. That's how you know, that's the whole point.
Right. Yeah.
You know, after a while, if you're not, then if you're rebuying in every year, you need to rethink what you're doing, whether you're playing at the wrong level or the wrong platform or format or whatever it is. Maybe you need to be playing, you know, redraft instead of dynasty or whatever it is, but you should be free rolling a lot of your entries you know, every year, at least.
Yeah, for sure.
At least some of it.
Like I would say in the first few years I was doing this, I've probably put in a total of like $3,000, but like I'll play close to $8,000 in best balls this year because of just credits and
Exactly.
other money I've won that I keep on the platform. Because really, as soon as you pull it out, you're getting taxed on it, right? So I might as well just leave it in there and just let it roll. But yeah, so we're still thriving on original money, like whatever. I probably will.
Folks are trying to reach me to see if I'm picking up my daughter from camp, so I was just letting him know. I'm letting him know about the important meeting I'm in, Kevin.
I mean, you know, we'll be done with this meeting in a half an hour or so. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Or so.
What happened?
I've lost track of where I want to stack and where I want to go with stuff.
I know it's hard to. That's the one thing when you're streaming. It's hard to plan and stick to your plan.
Right.
It's kind of like when you plan in a slow draft, but it takes so long that by the time it gets back to you, you kind of forget everything that you're planning.
And I just like to throw that guy on rosters. Taysom Hill. I love to throw him on best ball rosters at tight end. Whenever he's tight end eligible, I probably reached for him a bit there, but I just like him on my team. There's always the chance. Actually, in drafters doesn't have a playoff, so Taysom Hill isn't the greatest pick on drafters. Now that I think about it, in a tournament setting, Taysom Hill is a great playoff round play. Like if you can get him at to rush in a couple or play quarterback and say if Carr goes down, hopefully they put in Winston, but there's that gamble play if you can get Taysom Hill on a team that has playoff rounds. All right, I'm gonna go with Jerome Ford there just because he's got to be the RB2 in Cleveland at this point, right? I honestly think Cleveland's probably going to sign somebody else, but for right now, it looks like Jerome Ford is the RB2.
I'm with you. I think any offense that is a potential contender who thinks they can make a run, whether it's the weak division or their team or whatever it is, I think that you have to be careful with if the backfield is looking a little thin behind the starter.
Right.
And I mean, that doesn't always mean, like you said, it doesn't always mean that new guy's coming in and taking over. It just means you have to think through about how that's going to affect your rosters and how you're going to adapt to it. Some people just panic, and they start selling whoever it was that was there. But that's not the move.
No.
Go by the fear.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I'm cheap as hell. I always buy discounts.
Well, I always say that a lot of my trading is not necessarily based on the fact that, when you can get a guy at a discount, it's great. But when there's a guy you really want and nobody's selling him and something happens and now you have the opportunity to buy him, sometimes that's a dollar value in itself.
Yeah.
And I think people don't realize that. They think, oh, yeah, people are down on Hall. I should be getting him for a discount. And it's probably right. But if you can get him for his cost right now, that's probably more than you would have got if this news didn't come out. Right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Not selling at all.
And Dynasty. I think from my point of view, though, if I have Hall on a team, I'm not letting bad news depress his value one bit. And maybe that's sometimes why I'm difficult to trade with. People complain about me. I'm always trying to get the little edge in it. But the guys on my team, I draft well. I trade for guys. I overpay for the guys I like. If you have one of the guys I like, you're fortunate.
I'm the same.
I may not give you the full. Well, I'm 50-50 on whether I'm going to try to get a value from you or not. If there's bad news on a player, I'm probably going to try to sneak in some value. But I will pay face value when there's bad news for sure. What do I want to do here? You got take the mic for a second. I can't figure out who I want.
Yeah, so we're in the 16th round right now. Apologies for the screen, guys, that I can't have a better kind of shot of the board. So you take Jalin Hyatt there. What do you think of him as a prospect, as a rookie? I'm not really big on him, to be honest. Just I hear so much about his limited route tree and size. And
see, like, so in the beginning when he was going on the 12th round, hell no. I guess the 16th, he's dropped to like 18th, 19th round in some places, but I keep thinking about playoffs.
This guy keeps sniping me, man. I was literally about to star. Anyways, I'll grab my Mechie.
Okay, so I don't feel as though there's much difference between Hyatt and Wandale this year. I think they're the same exact play. I think they actually run. I think they are a different style slot receiver, but I think they are. We're crossing our fingers to see if Wandale is healthy. We're crossing our fingers to see.
You know what the difference is to me?
Hyatt. What's that?
The difference, because they're both from this regime, right? Wandale was from this regime,
right?
Yeah. So for me, the difference is one guy's shown it to me, and to me, I talked about it last night. That means a lot. Like if you've shown me that you can do whatever it is that I'm hoping you can do, then I'm more willing to buy into it. But if it's all hopes and make beliefs and, you know, upside, like Nate Pilmer likes to talk about, it's harder for me to buy in. And a guy like this, like I'll probably have to see it first, and if I miss on him, I'm not that sad about it.
Yeah, I get it.
It's kind of like stocks. Like I don't need to be on every stock every time it pumps. You know, like some people, they get mofo and it's like, oh my God, I should have bought that guy or this guy. Like, you know, you're going to hit some, you're going to miss some, and you're going to lose on some, but you don't have to be on every single guy.
I'm trying to think of, yeah, you're probably like, so yeah, I diversify the Giants receivers. Now that Hyatt has fallen some, I'm willing to grab.
You can totally do that in that. Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like yeah. I do. Yeah. I definitely have Wandale, and right now they're kind of the same play. I already have some Wandale. So
would you stack them like I did with Patrick?
Yeah,
and
sure.
And, so Dan and I talk about that all the time.
Like right now I have underdog brain, and I know I have Stafford and Cup, right? So I wanted to bring back a week 17 matchup with Hyatt.
I get caught doing that on here, and I forget that it's a full season. There's no like playoff.
Right.
You know?
As soon as I hit it, I'm like, wait, damn it. But I mean, whatever. Like I still think it has Wandale really. Yeah, I guess he has shown it, but like
he looked great, but then he got hurt, and that like comes back to what I guess he was getting docked for was his size, right?
Right, and here's my other point too. They can both be on the field at the same time. Yes, they're both really slot receivers, but when people talk about Hyatt's route tree, it's not that of a typical slot receiver where you're just veering out or cutting across the middle. Hyatt is kind of a deep receiver in the slot, kind of that tight end seam route.
Yeah.
Seems to be his premier route. We'll see though. Like I wasn't high on Hyatt. I'll buy the dip. And there are a couple other Giants receivers I'm high on, but
they're all cheap. That's the nice thing is they're all cheap.
They're perfect, and that's why I like whenever I start with Cup, I'm gonna stack them with Stafford, and I usually bring them back with a Giant or two and stack them at the end because there's still like. With three other Giants that we could. Ooh, Greg Dortch went a little earlier. Greg Dortch is a guy I like. Arizona.
I've got a lot of Dortch, especially when I was stacking a lot of. I was getting some Arizona stacks earlier.
Right. Yeah.
I think you and I actually did a draft together where I did like a Cleveland, Arizona type of stack, and I was pounding toward.
I almost took Kyler in this one because he was falling to like. Where'd Kyler go? He went the end of the 16th round, or beginning of the 16th round. Yeah, that's where I went with Taysom Hill and Jerome.
No, he went. Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like I probably should have grabbed Murray instead of Jerome Ford or Taysom Hill. Like I should have just come back with him, and he's easy enough to stack late too. Although the guy that drafted, oh yeah, he stacked him with McBride. That's the perfect bring back for that Arizona stack.
Yeah.
Yeah, McBride was going a little. It started to creep up.
He's starting to creep up. Too. He's starting to creep up. I noticed even in the fishbowl where he's going. I mean, that's really super tight end preem, but it's kind of like, you know, there's certain stacks. What's it? You were talking about another team right before we were talking about Arizona, and I was just thinking, with New York. Sorry, with LA, the Rams. I was thinking that's like a stack that was really nice to get in these drafts, but now you start hearing a lot of people talk about it. So you start seeing some of these guys moving up, you know?
Yeah. And I'm sitting here. I was looking for a New England receiver to stack with my late Mac Jones, but the only one I see here is Kendrick Bourne. I'm like, see, this is where streaming you lose focus.
All right, there's my faker. Take him around early.
No, that's smart. That's smart because there's also another stack you could throw in there. I'm not gonna. Well, we're not live. I should be able to say, but I won't jinx you.
You grabbed a guy that I like grabbing as my either QB2 or, I mean, Mac Jones. I feel is just kind of he's in the wrong tier. Like when I look at where he is in the ADP. I feel like he needs to be in the tier above that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I especially like him because I can usually stack him with one of his receivers after him. Or like, I'm not going to look back. I'm going to stack him with Hunter Henry in the 19th.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just that, like, there's 20 rounds.
I love stacking him with Juju. I mean, whether Hopkins goes there or not, I think Juju's going to eat in that offense.
Oh, yeah, I think Juju benefits from Hopkins going there.
Well, you could have stacked him with Strong. That would have been nice. I love stacking with running backs.
That is the other one.
Because I was thinking Strong. Like I hate handcuffing, but when the guys have different roles in offenses, I don't mind. So like Stevenson with Strong, because they're so far apart in the draft. And they have different roles. I think they can coexist on a roster and not necessarily cap your upside.
Oh, 100%. Like Stevenson's going to get 60% of the touches. There's going to be another 30-10 or 20-20 split. Actually, Stevenson will probably only get like 50% of the touches when you break it down, when you start to like really look at projection style. But he will still – I still feel as though he'll be borderline RB1, you know, a RB1. He'll be a top 10, top 12, or just out of the top 12 running back. But you could get Pierre Strong as an RB2, picking up the James White type role. Like, and with Bill O'Brien back as their offensive coordinator, I want to say that was White. Am I saying the right name?
For who?
My mind just went blank. White, is it White? The running back and the retired running back from New England. White.
James White. James
White. Yes, yeah. I said it earlier, and then
he's going to take over that James White role. Is like what we're hearing.
Yeah, and there is a James White role in a Bill O'Brien offense. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that was the offensive coordinator when James White was there. I'm 90% sure. So, yeah, I totally feel that, and I choked on that 100%. I totally should have drafted him because Hunter Henry would have fallen.
Again, it's we're if you were doing this on your own, you probably would have seen it. We're yapping, you know.
Yep, I didn't even notice like another running back would fit into my lineup. Ooh. Oh, I got it.
No,
I'm gonna complete this stack.
Don't even think of sniping me right
now. Oh, no. I'm not sniping you.
All right. I'm curious.
What position are you going? Oh, I'm picking a guy that nobody's gonna take.
Okay.
He's so deep.
Why do I feel like you're about to take my guy? Just by the description that's happening right now.
I'm not. I think I'm going running back.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm going.
Well, there's actually a couple of guys. There's a few guys here that you could grab super late that are like sneaky value. I'm gonna grab the guy that I honestly don't believe is gonna do anything. But in week 1 of last year, he had the most touches in the Patriots backfield, I believe. It was Ty Montgomery. And I just wanted to stack him with Mac Jones, and we'll see. So Ty Montgomery is the anti-pure strong play.
All right.
Let me guess. You're going to go Kate Otten.
No, I'm going Eric Gray. Oh, yeah, dude. Good call. Thank you.
Yeah. Like, what are you doing?
There it is.
A third tight end fits perfectly into this build,
that's
and
so
you stack them with
Mayfield.
Yeah.
So perfect.
Yeah. I'm focused more on your team than my
No, that's such a good call. Yeah, because it's funny because I just looked at my tight ends and I go, yeah, I could probably squeeze another one in there. And that fits perfectly.
Yeah, that absolutely.
So read off your team really quick and then I'll read mine off.
So at quarterback, I got Trevor Lawrence, Matthew Stafford, and Mac Jones. Running back, Derrick Henry, Travis Etienne, Antonio Gibson, Jalen Warren, Jerome Ford, and last round Ty Montgomery, just to wrap up a New England stack. I really am not high on Ty Montgomery, but Ty Montgomery to me is what Cordarrelle Patterson was 2 years ago, right? Yeah. Like nobody was drafting him. There's no way he's going to do anything. Okay. That wide receiver, I got myself some Cooper Kupp, Keenan Allen. I don't have much Keenan Allen. I've been drafting Amari Cooper in front of him. Mm-hmm. But I need to blend some Keenan Allen in because, like, even if Keenan Allen is only healthy for 8 games, he'll have 8 RB 1-2 weeks somewhere in between there. Yeah. He'll be starting. He'll be in a best ball lineup 6 weeks this season, no matter what. And then Deontay Johnson, touchdown regression is headed his way. Like, people would be drafting him ahead of Jerry Jeudy if he only scored 4 touchdowns last year. He had none. The projections would be much higher, and I think that offense is going to take a step up. And it's a nice stack with Jalen Warren there too. You notice that. I'm clever. Michael Pittman, I would have.
You're subconsciously clever.
Yeah. Michael Pittman, I think he's undervalued. Jacoby Myers. I drafted him a little bit ahead where I like to draft him, but I think he is not only consistent enough, but athletic enough to really put up some numbers in an offense where if Devontae Adams decides to check out, they're going to have to flood Myers with targets. Then Nico Collins, he's been getting a lot of hype lately as the primary receiver in Houston, and we haven't really gotten to see him yet due to injury, but he seemed to fit the roster at the right time. Grabbed some Jalen Hyatt and Puka Nakua late as a stack for Stafford with a week 17 bring back. My tight ends was Evan Ingram stack with Trevor Lawrence, Taysom Hill kind of dart throw. Taysom Hill's much better in playoff best ball tournament. Kind of got that mixed up, and then Henry to stack with Mac Jones.
Good build. You happy with it?
Adequate. For
a live draft.
For a live draft, I'm fine with it.
We're a streaming draft. We're not necessarily live for this one, but
streaming draft. It feels live, right? Like
exactly. It's the same price.
And it's like one of those. Like I got to get reacclimated with the platform too. Same.
Probably should have done a warm up on this thing.
Probably.
But
this is our warm up. Like I would rather warm up on a stream, right? Like the stream things can go haywire anyway. I might as well get the kinks out and really like. I think before I started doing this, I used to like when the hosts of a show would tell you, this is where I'm making a mistake. This is what, like, I mean, just listening to them draft in the first place, has really only become a thing in the past few years.
True.
But like I like listening to where people think they made mistakes, or they're kind of like, I know I made a mistake. How am I going to make it up? How am I going to repair this? And I don't know. Hopefully people enjoy it.
Well, that's the thing, right? You're trying to not only draft, do a stream, entertain, but give some value and some input that people can actually use, right?
Yeah, like all you guys that do this regularly, you care about people's fantasy teams. Really, people, I don't give a fuck about your fantasy team. I'm just gonna let you know what I'm thinking once in a while.
Well, I mean, I don't know that it's just about helping people win,
right?
Type of thing. But
you can help them. I'll let them peek behind the curtain.
All right. So I was in the 1 spot. You were drafting from the 3. I started off with JJ Jefferson. I mean, like I said, I'm usually swapping it back and forth between Chase and Jefferson. Came back with when it came back to me on that turn, I talked about it earlier, that it looked ugly. I mean, my options were ugly based on, I don't know if it's just from the other platforms or the availability of the receivers got thin really quick. And I talk about that. And that's why I usually like building top heavy at receiver. But here I figured I can get 2 studs at running back in Jacobs and Stevenson.
Can I interrupt you for just a second?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
So I like that build where I go running back around 2 and 3. I just don't like Josh Jacobs.
Oh yeah, I don't. The only reason he's there is because I literally don't usually draft him. It's just to get.
It makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, I know it sounds stupid and it might sound like a cop out, but it's honestly, when I'm looking at
same Hall, reason I got Keenan Allen.
Yeah, like Hall is probably the guy I should have put there, but the problem with Hall is, again, as your number 1 or 2, you still don't know where he stands. So I'd probably want a stronger number 1 if I grabbed Hall. Like Pollard and Hall is perfect.
Yeah, I was hoping Hall would come back to me. Like I passed on him in the 2nd round.
Yeah, like if I have one draft, like this is my 1 draft in this tournament, I'm taking Hall and Stevenson there. I'm hoping Pollard falls. So anyways, I took Jacobs, Stevenson, and then, well, the other thing to be just to give like a, devil's advocate logic behind the Jacobs pick, there's a lot of talk of Jimmy G not necessarily being there in the beginning of the season. There's some health issues. There's some injury issues. It seems to be like a thing with him. So if he's not necessarily there, it doesn't get with the team early enough. Again, he's in a new offense. I just think these guys lean on Jacobs, on the running game, because what else is there? Who else is there? Like Adams is there, but who's going to throw the ball to him?
Right.
So
yeah, that makes total sense.
So there is a story that you can tell where Jacobs doesn't necessarily repeat what he did, but he gives you another top 5, top 7, 8 type season. So that could be a logic behind taking him there. But it was really just because, like I said, out of the guys that I was interested in, I took the guy I have lease of. As you guys saw, I have like 70 drafts so far on this platform, so I'm trying to mix up my ownership. Came back with Mike Williams and Godwin. Mike Williams, same thing. Not necessarily a guy I'm taking off in there. I looked at Deontay, looked at Lockett. But again, Williams, I don't have a lot. Divisional stack, because there's no week 17 stacks on drafters because it's a full season. I'm looking at divisional stacks and team stacks. So Mike Williams goes with Jacobs. And then Godwin is just a guy that's a value in every draft. So if he fits with my build and I need a receiver and he's sitting there, I'm grabbing him. I was deciding between him and Johnson. You took Johnson 2 picks later. I came back and stacked Mike Evans. Again, another guy who just falls. And if Mike Evans is your wide receiver 4, you can do worse, right? Then paired Addison with Jefferson, hoping to get the Cousins stack later, which I did 2 picks later in round 9. Waller was my first tight end off the board in round 8, who I'm very high on and bullish this year. I think we all are in the district.
For sure.
A-Chain, Mitchell, and Gainwell were 3 of the next 4 picks at running back. So I've got 5 running backs there. And then Higbee is my second tight end. Got a bit of a LA Ram.
Yeah, stealing Higbee from me. That's not cool.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was Higby, Higby and Waller is like in my head. It's the week 17 stack that I was thinking, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that doesn't work here. But anyways, I like Higby as my tight end too. Either way, I think he's going at a good price. And then Mims, Patrick, we talk about on our channel often. You know, I got this from Dan a few years ago. I've been doing it ever since. Just kind of late grabbing guys on the same team, especially where it's it's not clear who's going to take over. So if you even hit on one of these guys, you're golden. And if best case scenario, these guys complement each other all season and give you points. And then
I think you're going to hit on both of them.
And you can, because we don't know what that offense looks like, right? We have no idea. And then Mechie, who's my favorite guy in Houston, just based on price and what I think he can do in that offense. And then Hardman is a guy, I think, that is really going under the radar right now. I know he's burned us all. Dan and I had him in fantasy pros, I think 2 years in a row. We shared teams and we kept getting burned with Hardman. But I feel like they bring him into New York. They have Rodgers there now. He's got some rings. He's got some experience. He's coming in with like a bit of a, chip on his shoulder, thinking like he's got something to teach people. This team can learn something from him if they want to win. So I think he might be a surprise out there. I think Hardman, Lazard, and Wilson, I think can do really well with Rodgers as long as that offense is going. I think Hardman at his price, 17th round, man. I mean, you can't go wrong in an Aaron Rodgers.
That's what I was gonna say. Hardman, like I've never been on Hardman, but 17th round, definitely worth a dart throw. I will say this: I think Corey Davis is the wide receiver 2 in that offense.
That's another, again, just thinking of the prototype, right? Like an unknown offense. Right. You have a new situation there, a new quarterback. Those are the offenses you want to attack late in these drafts. Like, especially because you could be grabbing a wide receiver too, like you said, in the last 3 rounds of a draft for a big tournament. And that's going to take you over the top.
Like it's something about Corey Davis being a veteran with Aaron Rodgers seems like a fit. Like
you just want to see more pictures of his girlfriend on Instagram, man. Just admit it.
Wait, whose girlfriend?
Isn't he the guy that was with CMC? They were out like the 4 of them, and they were all over Instagram last offseason.
No, that was.
Oh no, that was Brett Braxton.
Braxton Berrios.
I always confuse those two.
Don't get me wrong. Some of those 30 deep dynasty rosters still have a little Braxton Berrios.
All right, I got to get this wrapped up here. So Gus Edwards, my last running back in the 18th round. I think, like, you guys know how much I love J.K. Dobbins. I just took him in the fishbowl. But to me, Edwards is like forgotten because who's behind Dobbins? There's no one. It's Gus Edwards, and they love Gus Edwards. So to me, if I don't get Dobbins in a draft, I'm usually getting Edwards just because he's so cheap. Mayfield for the stack where I have Evans, Godwin, and then thanks to you, added Otton in my last pick. That, again, if I'm not on stream, I'm definitely smashing Otton there. That fit perfectly for my 3rd tight end, and then I've got both my quarterbacks that are stacked with their top 2 receivers.
Yeah, I love that Gus Edwards pick, and the Otton just only slipped your mind because of the stream for sure. For sure. Dude, I'm so glad that we made this happen. I always appreciate you jumping on. I know sometimes it's last minute just because, you see a little lull in the schedule, a little lunch break, as we call them. And it's always fun drafting with you, man. Always fun hanging out. We'll get some more of these done this offseason. Why don't you, before we go, A, where people can find you, and B, I think you have some new stuff going on. I could have swore I saw something on Twitter. I'm not sure, so I'll let you kind of give them the details. I'm with 3013.com, so definitely head over there and check out their stuff. Holy cow! Like, I haven't produced anything in a while, and I'm overdue. And I hope Larky isn't listening to this right now. But I'm gonna get something out. I should have some rankings out of some sort very soon. Like, I've definitely been master procrastinator. I'm a summer school administrator.
I was gonna say there's a difference. You work.
So and I'm like in charge too. Like, believe it or not.
Believe it.
Yeah, like it's really hard to believe, to be honest. But yeah, so I've been busy with that. But you'll be able to find some of my stuff over at 3013.com soon. And even if not, like the guys over there, Larky has hired some absolute geniuses over there.
Oh yeah,
read that stuff, like know it. And other than that, just follow me on Twitter at ff_Wheeler. I'll have some rankings at Fantasy Pros, but I'll be publishing them at 3013.
Yeah, Kevin's a beast, man. He's a little what's the word? Understated? Is that the word I'm looking for? I need Dan around usually but anyways, yeah.
Understated is good. I like to
understated is good. A little under.
I like to fly under the radar.
Yeah, he's kind of like the Gus Edwards, you know, of
I could tell you right now, if I hit one of these fantasy championships for $1 million, you may never hear from me again.
It's funny you say that, right? Because you see Pat, right? He's coming into the
like
content world.
He's making a career out of it. I'm gonna make a retirement.
I would have been gone, son. I would have taken that 2 million, 3 million, whatever it is you want. I would have been gone.
He is in New York State, so they're gonna take a big chunk of it. So he's got to recycle that somehow. He's got to reinvest it.
For sure. All right, man. This was a blast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm gonna drop it really soon. I'll try to get it out today or tomorrow latest. But we always appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Guys, enjoy your weekend. Keep drafting, and we'll check you all later.
Go District. Bleed, I ball. Bleed, I ball. Bleed, I ball. Bleed, ball. And I bleed, I ball. Bleed, I ball. Bleed, I ball. Cause I bleed. Hey, bleeding, I ball. Defeated the odds. Didn't see him at all. JD in the pods. I needed it all. I bleeded a lie. You bleeded a lie. Not bleeded a lie. And that's what I go do. Facts, let me show you. Happen to know dudes. Drafting, they don't do bad and they don't lose. Make you wanna bleed. It's the Go District boys giving you the business and no gimmicks. The best ball drafts got me feeling like it's Christmas. Then it's Christmas all of a sudden and these riches came from nothing. And I got this all from loving the district. See, I just drafted, forget it. I laugh at the critics, they mad at the digits. I clap back by listening. See, BALLiN ain't a problem if you kick it with them off. And I refresh the feed till autumn, then I bleed, go.